I wanted to go back and review with you the seditious conspiracy statute and also do a brief overview of what a conspiratorial crime means. So, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I rely on your support, and let's dive in. A conspiratorial crime is different from a direct crime. And here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a definition from Cornell's Legal Information Institute database about conspiracy. So the database reads, conspiracy is an agreement between two or more people to commit an illegal act, along with an intent to achieve the agreement's goal. Okay? So here, I want you to separate that. Say the illegal act is to steal an election. Okay. Now, the object, the illegal act, is stealing the election. Now, a conspiracy happens when one person who has the intention of stealing the election goes and agrees with another person and then another person, at least one other person, that person, that second person, is also going to agree with person number one to steal an election. The crime of conspiracy is not the illegal act of stealing the election. The crime of conspiracy in American jurisprudence is the agreement two people form to be able to steal an election. And here's another nuance. There are certain jurisdictions and there are certain laws that statutorily require an overt act, meaning an act that proves that person one and person two were engaged in an illegal act to get to the final illegal act. And that illegal act, actually the overt act doesn't have to be an illegal act. The overt act has to be an action that precipitates or materializes the end goal. The database reads, in most US jurisdictions, there's a requirement of an overt act towards the furthering of the agreement. An overt act is a statutory requirement, not a constitutional one. It means that the Supreme Court, has interpreted the crime of conspiracy and the statutes that are conspiracy statutes to determine what is required to prove that particular conspiratorial act. In some statutes, it requires that there is an overt act. Not only that there is an agreement between two or more people, but also that there is an overt act. And in the most general conspiracy statute in the US Code Book, 18 USC section 371, it requires an overt act. There are certain conspiracy statutes that don't require an overt act. Seditious conspiracy under 18 USC 2384, from the reading of the statute, reads like it falls somewhere in between, because the general conspiracy statute talks about a general overt act. It doesn't define the overt act that would qualify as something that evidences the conspiracy. In seditious conspiracy, the statute is far more specific. But then again, within the specificity, there are latitudes. And I'm going to read you the statute. before I read the statute, I'm going to read on Cornell's encyclopedia about this. Conspiracy generally carries a penalty on its own. In addition, conspiracy allows for derivative liability where conspirators can also be punished for the illegal acts carried out by other members, even if they were not directly involved. So, gives you an idea that the people who are part of the conspiracy don't have to be at the insurrection, for example, or they don't have to be the ones who go out and themselves push people towards a fake elector scheme. It doesn't have to be, you know, they don't have to be the ones who were holding the pen, who signed those fake elector documents. It has to qualify within the understanding of they had an agreement to commit that illegal act, not to commit the overt act. The overt act is just one link to get to the final illegal act. Thus, where one or more members of the conspiracy committed illegal acts to further the conspiracy's goals, all of the members of the conspiracy may be held accountable for those acts. Where no one has actually committed a criminal act, the punishment varies. Some conspiracy statutes assign the same assignment for the conspiracy as the target offense. Others impose lesser penalties. So it's a very statutory construction of what conspiracy is. And, the policy behind that is conspiracy is a very, it's not a solidified crime. It is a living, breathing creature which involves the meeting of the minds of two or more people. And because of that, because it is an inchoate offense, it is specifically lineated through statute so as to make it specific as to how it would be enforced.